All right, folks, coming up on Roland Unfiltered for Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019. Dallas District Attorney overrules Dallas PD for filing felony charges against a black woman who was beaten by a white supremacist. She will join us live with her attorney. The man arrested for the murder of Nipsey Hussle is held on $7 million bail. We will explain to you exactly who he is and what took place today in court. Drama in Virginia as Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax speaks out with detailed denials of the allegations against him, and he wants the DA in Boston and North Carolina to investigate the sexual assault claims. He's not waiting for the alleged victims to do so. A huge victory for Lori Lightfoot in the Chicago mayoral race. She blew away Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle. She becomes the first black woman ever to become mayor of Chicago. And progressive Democrats are upset with plans by party leaders to shut down primary challengers in House races. What the hell are the Democrats thinking? And a black owner of 3 television stations filed suit today charging another broadcasting company, the largest broadcaster in the country, trying to sabotage his stations. Yeah, he'll join us. Also, a new film on Netflix from Samuel Abazuwile, also known as Blitz the Ambassador. The film is called Burial of Kojo. And of course, it was distributed by Ava DuVernay's company, Array. Blitz will join us to talk about that movie. Folks, a packed show. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
All right, folks, on yesterday, Dallas Police Department filed felony charges against the black woman who was beaten by a white supremacist in Dallas. You might remember the video. We're warning you right now, it is traumatic video, and this is the video, again, of Ladajanique Lee. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She's being beaten by Andrew Sheffield, folks. He was initially charged with misdemeanor charges, but because of the public outcry, look how he's just literally beating her, pummeling her. He was charged with a felony. Well, the Dallas the Dallas Police Department filed her felony charges because they say she caused damage to his vehicle after this took place. They say some $3,000 in damage. Late last night, I got a notice from the Dallas District Attorney's Office, an email stating they were aware of the charges and they would address it today. Well, they did. They dropped the charges. Joining us right now is Miss Lee and her attorney, Lee Merritt. First off, Miss Lee, how about pronounce your name, please, the first name? Ladajanique, sorry. So I'm going to ask you first. First off, were you shocked to see Dallas Police Department file charges against you when you were the one who was pummeled, beaten by this white supremacist?
I was very shocked.
And when it happened, I mean, what, they said that you, damaged his car window or something along those lines?
Yeah.
When you, that night the event took place, what was crazy to me was that when he gets released after filing misdemeanor charges, you were still being treated in the hospital.
Yes.
And with this particular event that night that happened, can you explain to us, again, what took place? I mean, how did that even happen where all of a sudden you encounter him and then he just starts wailing away, beating on you?
Hey, Roland, the district attorney, who hasn't had a chance to interview her yet, has asked that she refrain from sort of reciting the facts. She can talk about how she feels about the incident and, her physical condition, but she's not going to walk all the way through the facts, okay?
So, but what we were told is that there was an encounter over a parking spot. He gets upset with her, and then he decides to, when she confronts him, he pulls a gun out in the encounter while she is trying to call cops, and that's when he starts beating her.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And that's the part that's not caught on tape is that she let a friend out of the car who was staying in a hotel across the street. The friend who had a few drinks took a while to get out of the car, and so she waited. And Sheffield waited until she was alone, until the friend was into the hotel room, then suddenly approached her and told her that she was facing the wrong way down a one-way street. He actually obstructed her path and refused to move out of the way. When she drove around him, he followed her to the parking lot. And that's when someone noticed him berating her with racial slurs and profanity. It was the hotel clerk across the street, and he began recording. And the rest is what's caught on that video.
So one, Dallas DA got the charges. Have they talked to you? Have they talked to you, Miss Lee, to apologize for charges being filed? I mean, people were shocked and stunned if they're coming after you when this is white supremacists who was the one beating the hell out of you.
They haven't. No, they haven't. I was shocked myself, but they haven't came to apologize.
In fact, Police Chief Renee Hall, since she learned that the DA's office threw out the charges, she doubled down and said she felt she did the right thing, which is really...
I'm sorry, you're saying... Let me hold on. You're saying that the black police chief in Dallas believes that her officers did the right thing filing felony charges against Ms. Lee when initially the white supremacists had misdemeanor charges filed against him.
That's right. And she defended the actions of the misdemeanor charges being filed against this man, despite him carrying a gun and despite the vicious assault that everyone is seeing now. She defended the misdemeanor charges initially, and now she's doubled down on, quite frankly, stupid, and defended these charges that have now been dismissed by the district attorney.
What happens next? What's next in this case?
Well, the district attorney, it is now in the district attorney's hand, and we're hoping for that interview that I mentioned a moment ago. The reason why Ms. Lee is not talking about the facts right now, once it gets to the DA and he interviews her, he can pursue additional charges. We believe that there was a racial motivation behind this assault, and that the DA will be able to present evidence of that to a grand jury, get an indictment, and then we get a trial date and hopefully see this to a prosecution and a proper sentence.
All right, then. Well, first of all, Ms. Lee, last question for you. Are you still experiencing trauma, any pain, injuries still from that beating?
Yes.
You describe it.
I'm having head pain. I have migraines every day. I have ear pain from he busted my ear, so I can't sleep on the left side because the pressure from my ear touching the back of my head, it hurts really bad. I can't eat, sleep sometimes. My eating is all the way off.
Well, we certainly are sad that you had to go through all of this, and hopefully there'll be justice in this case. We certainly appreciate both of you joining us. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Roland.
All right, I want to quickly go to my panel here just to get their thoughts about this. Again, this strange filing of charges against her and then them actually doubling down on it. Kelly Bethea, communication strategist, Robert Patillo, civil rights attorney. Robert, that's sort of dumb if you're the police chief.
Well, I would have to get more information, because if they hadn't seen the video initially, if they were just going by the statement.
No, they filed the charges yesterday. That video's been out several days.
Understood. Even if it was out of when they were making the charging documents, if they hadn't seen the video, they may have decided to charge both parties. So you need more information on that.
Both parties were not charged. What initially happened was the video was out day one. He got charged after the video came out. He got charged misdemeanor, goes in jail. Outcry, how in the hell is this guy? Because a lot of racist comments online. He gets put back. They rearrest him. They file different charges against him. Then he, of course, makes bail again. Yesterday, they decide to file charges against her. Last night, around when we got off the show, 7 p.m. Eastern, I had an email from the Dallas District Attorney's Office saying they were made aware that Dallas police that day had filed charges. They said, we'll address this issue tomorrow.
Well, this is part of the reason that we have two parts of our prosecutorial process. You have the police, which investigate and arrest, and then the district attorney's office that has prosecutorial discretion as to whether or not they're going to pursue charges against the individual. I think the more salient point is that this sounds like it fits perfectly into the 2010 expansion of hate crime laws, and this should be pursued by the federal government. If somebody's making racial slurs while attacking somebody because of their perceived racial or gender identity, that falls clearly within the hate crime statute. And even we've seen the Dallas, both police department and district attorney's office have issues on racial issues. We have everything from Botham Jean to the Dallas shootings from several years ago. So this may be something that should go in their federal purview.
Of course, Kelly, we also there's a new black district attorney in Dallas, John Cruzo, who beat the previous black female DA. Just your thoughts on this?
I just think it's disgusting how black women are treated in this country, much less Dallas, Texas. Specifically regarding the hate crime aspect of this, I agree with panelists here regarding just the steps needed to be taken in order for this to actually get to a hate crime status regarding charges. My thoughts immediately go to what happened in Maryland recently within the past 2 years, the case of Richard Collins III.
Yep.
That was another case in which a white guy out of nowhere just stabs someone from my alma mater and kills him 2 days before graduation. And recently, Maryland just said that that is not.
Yeah, no hate crime charges.
There's no hate crime charges. So my concern with the new laws coming out regarding what constitutes a hate crime, do you have to say before you kill somebody or before you hit somebody, hey, you, black person, I don't like you, therefore I will stab you. It's never going to be that explicit. So who exactly is this law going to protect?
All right, let's go to Los Angeles, folks, where the man charged with the murder of Nipsey Hussle is being held on $7 million bail. That man, his name is Eric Holder. He's a rapper who goes by the name of Fly Mac. He sang body bags, 38 gun blasts, and bloody homicides in his songs. TMZ reports that Holder kicked Hussle in the head after he shot him. TMZ also reports that Hussle was alone at his shop because he went there on the spur of the moment without security to get some new clothes for a friend who just got out of prison after 20 years. But remember, Hussle was shot and killed. 2 other people were also wounded as a result of that. And so that's the latest in that particular case. Let's talk about Virginia, where Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax, his 2 accusers told their stories to Gayle King on Monday and Tuesday. Well, today, Fairfax went before the cameras, coming out to once again deny their allegations of sexual assault. This time he did so point by point. Here's a video.
While Dr. Tyson has stated definitively that she met, interacted, and had a conversation with me in Boston on July 26, 2004, the first day of the convention. In fact, Senator Edwards and I were not in Boston on that date. We did not arrive to Boston from North Carolina until the following day. After I arrived, I met Dr. Tyson in passing. She was a volunteer at the convention. As young adults and students, we spent time together talking. I invited her to my hotel room where we engaged in completely consensual activity. I have heard Dr. Tyson say that I held her neck and physically forced her to engage in sexual contact. That is simply not true. What she alleges never happened. At no time did I force any contact. And she's also said that she was visibly upset and crying. That also is not true. At no time was she crying, or did she express any concern, reluctance, or discomfort. Her demeanor never changed throughout the entire encounter. We engaged in friendly banter after leaving the room. Dr. Tyson has said that after our encounter, we had no further contact. That too is not true. In fact, she reached out to me more than once after the convention had ended, and we spoke several times in the weeks after the convention. In fact, at one point, Dr. Tyson left me a message asking me if she could visit me in New York City, where I had returned to school at Columbia Law School, and even invited me to meet her mother. I did not respond, and our relationship did not continue. Through it all, I had no reason to believe that she felt that our interaction in Boston was anything other than 100% consensual. As regards Ms. Watson, I knew Meredith Watson when we were both in college at Duke University. We had many mutual friends and saw each other often. While she and I had never previously had a physical or romantic relationship, we were friendly with each other. On one occasion late in my senior year, in the year 2000, she initiated a consensual encounter with me. I did not rape or sexually assault Meredith Watson. I did not lock the door. I did not turn out the lights. I did not hold her down or use any physical force whatsoever. We were both willing participants. After that encounter, I saw her on occasion when we were with mutual friends. At no time before, during, or after our encounter did she ever say or do anything that suggested to me in any way that she believed, that she thought anything that happened between us was something she had not wanted or that she was uncomfortable with. Ms. Watson has alleged that we later had a conversation about the encounter where I supposedly raised the fact that she had previously accused a Duke basketball player of raping her, and therefore I thought she would, quote unquote, be too afraid to report another assault. No version of that conversation ever occurred.
Now, folks, also in the news conference, Fairfax made it clear that he also took 2 lie detector tests and passed both of them. Of course, his statement was a lot longer than that. Now, check this out. Go to my iPad, please. He also said this, quote, "At my direction, my attorney has contacted the district attorney's office in Boston, Massachusetts, and the district attorney's office in Durham, North Carolina. Each would have jurisdiction over these alleged crimes. My attorney has asked each office to launch an investigation of these allegations if they have not already done so." Now, what has been going on, of course, is in that interview, Tyson said she would be willing to speak before a process, a legislative process in Virginia. This is a statement that was released today by the lawyer for Dr. Vanessa Tyson. This is what they released. Since their allegations became public in February 2019, Dr. Vanessa Tyson and Meredith Watson have made clear they believe the people of Virginia deserve to hear about the sexual assault and trauma they experienced at the hands of Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. They have asked the members of Virginia's legislature to come together to determine a process that will provide due process to all parties while allowing the people of Virginia to judge for themselves whether Lieutenant Governor Fairfax deserves to hold his position of trust and power. Given the General Assembly's inaction, Dr. Tyson decided to appear and answer questions about the incident in a national television interview. Today, Lieutenant Governor Fairfax made a public statement to members of the media in which he responded in a piecemeal fashion to the accounts of both women. He insists that he is fit to serve as Virginia's lieutenant governor unless he is convicted of criminal court. However, a politician's fitness for office is wholly independent of the workings of the criminal justice system. We believe Lieutenant Governor Fairfax's statement to the media further exemplifies the need for a bipartisan public hearing in which all sides have an equal opportunity to testify under oath and present facts and evidence. It is unclear why Lieutenant Governor Fairfax is refusing to appear and testify under oath in the General Assembly about his past conduct. While Dr. Tyson and her legal team have been in touch with the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office, and she has not ruled out pursuing criminal charges, the Virginia General Assembly must fulfill its responsibility to the people of Virginia to ensure the integrity of the Commonwealth's leadership. Reports have indicated that Virginia's legislators are at a political standstill and unable to agree on a way to allow all parties to testify in public and under oath. Sexual assault is not a partisan issue. The failure of the Virginia legislature to provide all sides the opportunity to be heard sends a devastating message to sexual assault survivors in the Commonwealth that their state representatives will silence them in order to gain political advantage. We hope that the General Assembly and Lieutenant Governor Fairfax will agree to hold an open, fair hearing where all parties can come forward to provide information about this serious matter. Now, let me break this thing down. I'm going to break this statement down and also deal with his statements. Also joining us is Dr. Jason Nichols, lecturer for the Department of African American Studies, University of Maryland. So here's So I'm going to start from the bottom up, because here's what I found to be quite interesting as I read this. First, this statement says, the failure of the Virginia legislature to provide all sides the opportunity to be heard sends a devastating message to sexual assault survivors in the Commonwealth. First of all, neither one of them are from Virginia. One took place in Boston, one took place in North Carolina. They say in here that Fairfax addressed his piecemeal. That's actually not what happened. But I'm still trying to understand here. This is the statement from the lawyer for Vanessa Tyson, okay, Deborah Katz. She's trying to push the Virginia legislature to hear this out, Kelly, but they don't want to file a complaint in the legal. Fairfax basically said, wait a minute, I'm being accused of forcing someone to have oral sex in Boston and raping somebody in North Carolina. He said, fine, since y'all doing this, I'm going to call the DA. Mm-hmm. I'm still sort of stuck on this, that the lawyer for the women don't want a legal investigation. They want a political discussion. And they even said in here to allow facts and evidence to be presented. No, hold on, go back. We believe Lieutenant Governor Fairfax's statements to the media further exemplifies the need for a bipartisan public hearing in which all sides have an equal opportunity to testify under oath and present facts and evidence. Kelly, why wouldn't you present facts and evidence to the district attorney who prosecutes?
My question is, are there really facts and evidence at all when it hasn't been to court yet? That's the nuance here that I'm not understanding. This is a very peculiar situation. I've never seen anything like this. And like you said, the fact that Fairfax is actually saying, hey, I actually want this to be prosecuted in court, real court, so that he can be legally cleared of this. I think it sounds like they want him tarnished on a political end and not actually prosecuted, because maybe they don't have a strong enough case for actual prosecution, but maybe just enough in the court of public opinion to actually do some damage to his reputation. I am not one to say that I don't believe a rape victim. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm saying that this is strange, period.
Robert, you're a lawyer. How are you looking at?
Well, you know, I've always been on the record, believe women. It's time for us to listen to women. Absolutely. It's time for us to give these women a voice and to be heard.
You say on the record. You say on the record to listen to women and believe, or listen and then see what happens?
Listen, investigate, and give them credibility, because too often in the past it was dismissed offhand.
Right.
And that's what prevented women from coming forward with these allegations. In this particular case, the statute of limitation in Massachusetts for sexual assault and rape is 16 years. That'll be in 2003. This is still within the statute of limitations.
Right.
If they wanted to file criminal charges in Boston, they could do exactly that.
And in fact, the Suffolk County DA was a black woman. She came out in February and said, if a complaint is filed, I will investigate. In mid-February, Tyson's attorney said they were going to meet with the DA. They've yet to do so. But it's interesting that they would release this statement demanding a legislative hearing to present facts and evidence, but not file a complaint.
Well, I think the reason they chose that path is that it's unprovable in the court of law. You're never going to get to a beyond a reasonable doubt between what happened in a bedroom between two people with no physical evidence, no physical violence, no recordation thereafter. Most people don't take notes and keep a ledger of what happened after sex, and I think that's why they're not going to a district attorney.
So, now you got to ask the question. Again, reading that statement again, it sounds to me, reading that statement, they're saying, we want court of public opinion. We don't actually want to file a legal complaint. We want the court of public opinion to determine whether or not he should go.
Well, the issue is that they cannot prove this in a court of law. That there's because there's no DNA, no physical evidence, no witnesses, no letters, emails, text messages, social media posts, anything along those lines from 2004 that could prove this in a court of law that there was any incident that took place. The lawyer's position is to have this testimony go forward, much like in the Kavanaugh hearing, where there was no criminal charges filed, but they do want their story told in public.
And she was the attorney for Christine Blasey Ford. Jason, what do you make of this? Because, and then especially, what do you make of Fairfax saying, okay, fine, y'all don't want, I'm going to tell the DA, launch an investigation?
Well, I was thinking the exact same thing that was said, and that is that this is very difficult to prove without any serious evidence. It's been a long time. My question is, if this happened, would they have told a friend, told somebody, had witnesses that they could pull forward? And as far as the political damage, I feel like it's already been done. I would honestly, if I were Justin Fairfax's friend, family member, I would tell him to step down and perhaps do something else.
Why?
This has been, I'm sure trying for him, trying for his wife, trying for his family.
But why would you say step down?
His reputation has been tarnished.
But I'll ask both of you as men. If you were accused of this and you were adamant you didn't do it, your name it's already there. Why wouldn't you fight? Why wouldn't you fight for your name?
Well, because I don't want to be on camera detailing off my sexual activity from college in front of a national audience for a panel of people to be breaking down.
But it's already happened.
So what I would do is I would step down. I would then go through the process of clearing my name. I would take the polygraph test. I would go to the DA. I'd get all of my records together, showing that all the proof that I can, and present that to the court of public opinion, and then come back.
Okay, where would you present it?
Sit down with Gayle King like everybody else does.
No.
Sit down with Oprah like everybody else does.
Kelly, here's why, to me, that doesn't fly. Because the moment he resigns, no discussion.
Maybe not.
I think if he resigns, it's okay. First of all, on their side, we got what we want. We're good. Mike Espy, when he went on trial, he had to resign as the Secretary of Agriculture under Bill Clinton. They said he accepted bribes, Super Bowl tickets, things along those lines. He had to resign. Went to trial. Was acquitted. First thing he said was, where do I go to get my name back? He said, where do I go to get my name back? He ran for United States Senator against, I forgot what her name is, in Mississippi. They were still accusing him of accepting bribes, even though he was found not guilty in a courtroom. Where do you go?
And I understand that predicament, but at the same time, the situation in which you just described happened a while ago. We are now in a space and time, especially with social media, where you can kind of control your narrative a little bit more than just relying on the big networks. So when it comes to Fairfax, I think your example regarding Kavanaugh is even different from the Fairfax situation, because Kavanaugh...
Which example?
When you were saying how the lawyer...
No. I was simply stating a fact. The lawyer for Tyson is the same lawyer for Christine Blasey Ford.
I thought you were making...
They have the same lawyer.
Oh, okay. Well, even in that situation, Kavanaugh was trying to get the seat, as opposed to Fairfax, who is trying to keep his seat. So I think in that situation, it's a little bit different in that kind of hearing was a little bit more appropriate, because she was trying to prevent him from getting a role as opposed to taking him out.
Roland,
and also, I'm going to read this here. This was a tweet that was sent out by Catherine Watson, who is the White House correspondent for CBSN. Justin Fairfax, and see, this is why, for my deal is, no, I'm going to stay here and fight. She said, Justin Fairfax is basically saying that women accusing him of sexual misconduct should stay in their place, quiet and out of the public eye. But this was the quote she used from him. I do not believe the national television appearances or legislative hearings are the right vehicles to get at the truth. That's not what he said. He didn't say stay in their place, stay quiet out of public eye. If I'm Fairfax, first of all, the governor of Virginia can only serve one term. He was going to be the favorite to be the gubernatorial nominee in Virginia. The reality is, you've already put it out there. You're accusing me of rape. You're accusing me of forcing you to have oral sex. In the public's eye, a resignation means I'm guilty. If if my name has been so tarnished and I can't run for governor in 4 years, then damn that. I'm fighting. My deal is I'm not going anywhere. If someone accused me of something and I absolutely believe I did not do it, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to fight for my name just where I am because I busted my butt too hard to get to where I am to then scurry off to go somewhere else. Now, I get folks say, hey, but at the end of the day, if you already tarnished my name, hell, I'm staying right here.
I dig that, Roland, but at the same time, we saw I think your example of Mike Espy is a good one. Mike Espy went away, chilled for a minute, came back.
No. He didn't go away and chill. That was a court trial.
Right.
Y'all just said you're likely not going to have a court trial. So if that's the case, that means a Fairfax can't go to a courtroom, and if I'm found not guilty, I can stand up and say the people said I wasn't found not guilty. But let's remember, Nate Parker was found not guilty, and then people, that torpedoed Birth of a Nation, when people said, yeah, although you were found not guilty, we still think you did it. So it's one of those things that people, it's just like if you settle a case. You know, you settle a case, folks still say, oh, yeah, you settled, but I think you're a pedophile. And so it's one of those things where I'm just saying, if that was me, and you accused me, and I didn't do it, oh, hell no, I ain't going nowhere. We gonna fight.
But well, number one, not guilty does not mean innocent. R. Kelly got found not guilty.
Precisely.
Right.
So that's, which is my point. So what you just said is that even if you go through a trial and found not guilty, you will have people who are saying you still did it. And so if I quit, I'm basically giving you what you want. I ain't gonna do it. Final comment before I go to my next story.
I think for me, and the advice I would give a client is step down, clear your name, get all of your information, put it back into the court.
But how do you clear your name? What's the process to clear your name?
Look, while you're in office, you can't fight this and effectively govern. So there's nothing he can do effectively as lieutenant governor right now.
Lieutenant governor ain't like you got great duties. Okay, you ain't got that many duties. Kelly, go ahead.
I mean,
you ain't got that many duties. Let's just be honest. Okay.
You don't know what Virginia.
No, you don't.
Okay.
It's a part-time position. It's not even a full-time salary.
Fair.
He has 2 staffers.
And that's fair.
That ain't I got more than 2 staffers.
You do. Because you have a full organization.
I got 3 staffers in Chicago.
Fair.
I ain't even counting the people here. But go ahead.
I agree with my panelists here in that I personally would step down because it really is a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. But at the same time, the damned if you do, in that case being the situation in which you step down, again, you control the narrative a lot better and a lot freer than you having to be restricted by whatever the rules therein of, you know.
What rules?
Whatever Virginia has regarding press on behalf of the lieutenant governor.
There are no rules. There are no rules. No, there are no rules. You can talk. You're not restricted from anything. And in fact, I think you're actually in a better position to defend yourself where you are. Jason, go ahead with your final comment.
No, I would say that Justin Fairfax in some ways is taking the right road and saying, look, I want this to go to court. I think that's actually a good way of going about it. But staying as lieutenant governor, I think, does damage to probably a lot of the causes that he wanted to fight for in that position. So if it's not really necessarily just about him, it's also about the things that he wanted to advocate for. His name right now and everything that he is attached to is going to be brought down. And I think that's...
And guess who hasn't left?
Governor
the blackface governor and the blackface attorney general.
Well, you know we already are held to a different standard.
No, damn that.
They need to go too.
But if you look at the polling data in Virginia, that's not what the folks in Virginia are saying. So we'll see exactly what happens in Virginia. Oh, I'm just saying, you accuse me of something, I ain't do it. We're going to fight until hell freezes over, then we're going to fight on the ice. Going to a break. We'll be back in just a moment. Roland Martin Unfiltered. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. Here we go. All right, folks, you have plenty of pictures in your home, but you've never seen anything like this before. Introducing EasyTiles, the world's first photo tiles made of sleek and ultra lightweight glass. EasyTiles makes it very simple. You use your exclusive app for iPhone and Android to upload as many photos as you like. Then they print them on tempered glass. Now, your order arrives on your doorstep in a few days. And that's when the real fun begins, because with EasyTiles, you'll transform your living space with a gallery wall that will amaze each and every guest. EasyTiles are even simple to hang, no hammer and no nails. Even Robert could do it. And because they're mounted on small risers, they appear to float on your wall. Easy to order, easy to hang, and guaranteed for life. Now you can save 30% on any size order, plus get free shipping on orders of 4 or more. Just download the free EasyTiles app at EasyTiles.com and turn your best memories into beautiful glass wall art. Plus, save big now with this special offer. That's EasyTiles.com, EasyTiles.com. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. All right, y'all. Lecture day yesterday in Chicago, and Lori Lightfoot, she is now the new mayor of Chicago. She, of course, corporate lawyer, also worked in public space under Rahm Emanuel. She blew away Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle 73-26. She beat her ass like she was precious. Like she beat her with a tire track, a belt, a switch, and an extension cord. Yo, that's a blowout right there, y'all. Of course, Preckwinkle, not only was she the president of the Cook County Board, she also, folks, was the head of the Cook County Democratic Party. She had major labor support, but in Chicago, they wanted change. And then, of course, even a last-minute effort to try to blast Lightfoot with flyers around black churches in Chicago because she's a lesbian did not matter. She won in every one of Chicago's 50 wards, a stunning rebuke to establishment politics in that particular city. And today, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. insisted both of them attend a unity rally to ensure that people understand that you have to move forward together, because also what's important, Preckwinkle will still be the Cook County Board President. Lightfoot's going to be mayor. They're going to be on opposite ends of the same building. Here, of course, is some of that unity rally. So we don't have the video of it, so I thought we had the video of it, so I'm going to try to pull up in a second. It was pretty cool there. Now, folks, let me go here. It was very interesting. It's very interesting to see what's happening here. Change, it was clear change. And even you had some young black activists, BYP 100 Chicago, they were saying that Lightfoot, that, you know what, she called for some of the closed schools to be turned into police academies. They felt that she be too much about the police. Did not matter. To have that wide of a margin says a whole lot about how people felt in the city, even though 65% of the city's 1.6 million registered voters did not vote.
Well, that's the point I was going to make. I lived in Chicago, went to law school in Chicago, Kent College of Law, lived right there in Hyde Park. And what we saw during the primary leading into the final part of the election was all of the progressives got together and beat each other up so much that you ended up with people who didn't represent that agenda being the final two candidates.
She came in first in the primary, which was stunning to people.
They had so many people in that field, and something that the Democratic candidates for president can take a look at. The fact that we have that many people cannibalizing each other, you end up with a result. Instead of unifying behind one candidate, you end up with a result that people don't support. You have 300,000 people out of this population in the city of Chicago who voted for Lightfoot. About 150, 160,000 voted for Periwinkle. What she has to do is go to those disparate parts of the city, go to those, build coalitions with those candidates who did not win, listen to those voices, listen to those agendas, and then find a unity message going forward. The first thing that, the first press thing that came up today from her was, we have to prosecute Jussie Smollett. Like, no, get out there in the streets, find out the things people care about.
Right,
understand the things
that ain't the first thing.
3,000 people got shot in Chicago last year, and you talking about Jussie Smollett.
Right, I'm just saying that ain't a win and one. Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., of course, Rainbow pushed for them to have this unity rally, but they also shook hands. The two of them hated each other during this campaign. And so this is from Reverend Jackson's Twitter feed of this unity rally of Preckwinkle as well as Lightfoot.
Mayor-elect Lightfoot last night to congratulate him. It's been a hard-fought campaign. And I pledge to work with her. I want to thank all of the folks who came out yesterday to vote in our elections. I want to thank in particular the volunteers and staff in my campaign. We have some real challenges ahead of us in our county and our city. And I look forward to working with Mayor-elect Lightfoot to address those challenges. Thank you.
I will, of course, begin by congratulating and thanking President Preckwinkle on her candidacy. She deserves our respect. Yeah. And she will have my personal commitment. She and I share many of the same policy goals, from criminal justice reform to living wages to equitable investment in our neighborhoods. And while this was a spirited campaign, those shared values will serve us well as we work together for the good of the city and the good of the county.
All right, Kelly. Historic. First black female mayor of Chicago.
And I think that's the biggest accomplishment, so to speak, from a social standpoint that's going on here. I, for one, am happy to see that. I'm a little bit surprised considering the internalized homophobia of the black community, the fact that this happened.
Oh, white folks homophobic too.
That too.
Let's not act like black people are somehow pathological.
It's
white
global.
folks homophobic too.
It's absolutely global, but I can only speak for who I'm a part of.
I can speak for white people too.
Okay.
We know what they do.
Fair.
They live here too.
Absolutely.
Jason.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think it was amazing. It was probably the most significant election that we've seen since Harold Washington. The fact that you had two black women, and to look at them, two black women with natural hair going up against each other, I thought it was fantastic. However, I think Lightfoot just outgrinded Preckwinkle. You know, she went to every part of the city. She just didn't focus on the black community, and that's why she won.
Well, but first of all, you compare those two. The black turnout for Harold Washington was almost 90%.
Right.
The turnout here was woeful.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Ferguson, where Michael Brown's mother, she ran for the Ferguson City Council and lost. She came in third in the three-way race. The winner was another black woman, Fran Griffin, who had been organizing for the last 5 years in Ferguson. So we certainly want to congratulate Fran Griffin on that. And again, it's about folks running. Now, let's talk about Democrats. The DCCC, they don't really want that. The Democratic Party establishment, they want people to, like New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, frankly, to never run. Of course, she won her seat by beating Joe Crowley, a longtime incumbent, but the DCCC, Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, which governs, of course, wanting to elect incumbents, they passed a new rule that makes it perfectly clear, if you work for any candidate who's opposing a challenger, you can't get a contract. Oh, AOC, as well as others, including Ayanna Pressley, who upset an incumbent in Massachusetts, saying, have y'all lost your mind? A lot of the new freshmen in Congress are a result of folks challenging incumbents, people who raised small amounts of money, who did not have endorsements, who did not get lots of praise from incumbents. They are saying this makes no sense and it is wrong. And frankly, I agree with them. I think the Democrats, first of all, I get the DCCC's position, but I do not think you penalize somebody who works for an incumbent, because the very same incumbents who are now there, you want them and their votes. You want them raising money. Okay? Democrats, they want Cortez, and they want Ayanna Pressley and Lauren Underwood and Ilhan Omar out there because they have brought a new energy to the party. DCCC, this is stupid and shameful.
Well, I think old people are stubborn sometimes. And when you have
Shocking.
And when you have that old folks club, that old folks group,
people 70 or plus,
yeah, when you see all these
they
young
start
people,
getting old.
Yeah, coming in and shaking up things, they forget that they were at one point in time those young
insurgents.
firebrands.
Yes.
If you look at the 1977, 1976 congressional class, you had John Conyers, you had Maxine Waters coming in to shake up the system. But when you get comfortable, when you become part of the establishment, you know, there's that line from Batman. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. Many of these people have grown to become that villain.
I think that is one of those situations where, especially with the DCCC, what they're doing is becoming almost dangerously close to kind of this old white man club by doing something like this. Because who's coming up? People of color, women, LGBT community, and the like. Everybody who's considered a minority. Those are the people who are, fighting after these seats. And it's because of people like AOC, Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, that they feel encouraged to do so. So now you're in a situation where you can't do that.
Yeah, I would agree. And I would say that it, just kind of what was alluded to earlier was, I think it's also old black folks. It's not just old white folks. People just out of their cold, dead hands.
First of all, anybody.
They don't want to let go of power.
If you in office, you ain't trying to lose power. And so that's what this is. Their job is to protect incumbents in seats. But I'm sorry, you don't own that seat.
Right. I think maybe, I'm not totally against term limits. I've thought about, perhaps some of these people need some term limits.
Well, the issue here is not really term limits. The issue here is you saying we're going to penalize somebody who works for a campaign. So they are threatening, if you work for a challenger, you are risking never working for us again. And to me, that's wrong. So the DCCC should change this. You can support incumbents all you want to, but to literally threaten folks who work for a challenger, that to me is dead wrong. We believe in the importance of black-owned media. That is, black folks owning media, whether it's television, radio, newspapers, websites. Well, today a lawsuit was filed by a black owner, Pluria Marshall, who is suing Nexstar, saying they sabotaged his efforts to actually run the 3 stations he bought from them several years ago. Now, we reached out to Nexstar for comment. A spokesman gave us this statement. The allegations made by MBG in this lawsuit against the company are spurious and without merit. The company intends to vigorously defend itself regarding this matter in a court of law. Joining us right now is Pluria Marshall. Pluria, how you doing?
I'm great, Roland. How are you?
Doing great. So you bought these stations how long ago?
We bought the stations in 2014 and 2015. And
what was the relationship like when you bought the stations? Was it good? Was it a good working relationship?
Roland, it was a dream come true for me. It was great. I'd been out of the broadcast business, the TV business, about 25 years, and it was kumbaya. Fantastic. Pluria's back in the business, and I should be able to produce programming, run the stations as we saw fit, and contribute to our communities.
Of course, you also own black newspapers. You're a second generation person involved in media. And then what happened? How did this thing go south?
Well, it basically went south from day one. The folks at Nexstar did not like the structure of the deal that the FCC put forth. And from just about day one, everything that they did was to make it difficult for me to run the businesses from a corporate standpoint.
Explain that. When you say how the FCC structured that, so when they sold the stations to you, was that a result of having to meet FCC obligations because they own too many stations?
Well, it was the stations were sold to me based on there's a very low number of black male television station owners, black men. There's actually
first of all, it's a low number of black, period. Black men and women. I mean, it's damn near non-existent.
Right. It's actually a rounding error. It's 4 of us that own stations, probably collectively maybe 20 stations out of 1,400.
And so they were selling the stations. Was a tax break involved? Was there some sort of benefit to them selling to an African American?
No. The benefit to Nexstar was that they had a $500 million deal that they had on the table. And the only way to get that deal done was to sell to a minority broadcaster, which, of course, was me.
And so what were they doing to you when you alleged sabotage? Like what? What were they doing?
For instance, they would go into the market and their managers in the markets would say, oh, yes, we run the Marshall stations. And as per the FCC, that was the exact edict that the FCC said, no, Marshall runs his stations. At every turn when we would go into the market to make sales calls, they say, well, the Nexstar folks said that they represent you, which is just not true. So, and from a local sales standpoint, you have to look at this. There are oligopolies. It's 4, 5, 6 stations per market. And if one company comes in and says, we represent these guys, we represent basically, half the market, do business with us.
How did you try to resolve this over the last few years with them?
we have attempted to negotiate with them. We have tried to restructure the contracts that were more in line with this deal. Nexstar is relying on this a sidecar. I know it's in the weeds, but it's a structure that is not what we are. So their response was, "This is the way it is. Take it or leave it."
And so you filed a lawsuit in federal court. They deny exactly what took place.
Yes.
And again, the point I made earlier, this speaks to the larger issue, the fact that we used to have far more African Americans who own television stations and radio stations, and that number has dwindled tremendously, and that has a direct impact on our ability to be able to participate in wealth building, but also to control the content.
Correct. I mean, it's radio's non-existent. Television is non-existent from an ownership standpoint, and everything that has been put in place by the FCC, and they're well-meaning. When this deal was struck, it was monumental. The Congressional Black Caucus endorsed it. All the commissioners endorsed it, and for Nexstar to basically say that our allegations are false and untrue is just far off base.
All right, then, Pluria Marshall, we surely appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Roland. Take care.
All right, folks, calling all HBCU alumni, students, and leaders. I want you to, I need y'all to do this here, okay? I need you to do this here. I'm not going to read it that way. Y'all, this is free money. This is free money, and we need more people to actually go to this website to sign up to help your HBCU. You can enter the Ford Motor Company HBCU Mobility Challenge and win $25,000 for your school. Now, building on the long-term support of HBCUs, Ford is looking to improve mobility in HBCU communities through innovative solutions. Now, the winning program will receive a grant of up to $25,000 to implement their proposal. The deadline was March 31st. It's been extended to April 15th, 2019. So go to this website, fgb.life, for more information and to apply. You don't have to go to that HBCU to apply. You actually can sign up your own school or your favorite school or one near you, the one you support. And so please go to fgb.life, fgb.life for more information and to apply. And remember, Ford goes further in our community. We certainly appreciate them being a partner here at Roland Martin Unfiltered. This weekend, Sunday, this past Sunday, The Burial of Kojo, a new film that dropped on Netflix that tells the story of a young woman in Ghana as she remembers her childhood and the contentious relationship between her father, Kojo, and her uncle, Kwabena. Take a look.
The story of my childhood is a strange one. So strange that most people find it impossible to believe.
Director Blitz Bazuele joins me right now. Blitz, is that how I pronounce your name?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm just making sure. All right, then. So you've done this movie without a studio, obviously, without a lot of marketing. And what we have seen because of Netflix, really the opportunity for directors like yourself to really be able to show their wares, show their talent, and tell their stories to a worldwide audience.
No, absolutely. It is a game changer in terms of people who have been marginalized and haven't had an opportunity. The studios really controlled everything that got distributed for a very long time. And so especially work that were either from the continent or foreign films, as they'll call it, never really stood a chance. Obviously, with Netflix, it's become a lot more democratized. And obviously with someone like Ava DuVernay, who is in there blocking for us, it also makes it an amazing opportunity.
We have seen an increasing number of stories coming out of the continent of Africa. Now, obviously, last year with Black Panther, folks making $1 billion worldwide, telling the story of this fictitious African country. The thing that I still think is important is that it was, as the sister Dana, who played in Black Panther, said at the Image Awards this weekend, she said it was the African diaspora that made Black Panther so well. And so, but with 2/3 of the world being people of color, you have the ability to really tell your story and to be able to generate attention and tell more of these stories.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the key thing that's changing is our access to technology, which I think for a very long time was a huge barrier to entry. You know, you can have a good story, but if you didn't have the access to create the work, you stood no chance. Now, you know, things have changed drastically in terms of access to the cameras that are necessary, but also the technical know-how. And I think that has inevitably evened the playing field. Now, as it concerns, you know, our global diaspora being supporters of the work, I think for me, I know that the barrel of Kojo's success is hinged on the diaspora. We took the film to Brazil, which is, you know, the largest Black population outside of the continent in terms of countrywide. And the response that was amazing. And, you know, of course, we routed it through the U.S., and that has enabled us beam it across the world. And I think that's one very key difference between then and now.
Jason.
So, Blitz, congratulations on the film. It looks amazing. I can't wait to go home and watch it. Now, you're blazing new territory. Who were your influences to get into film?
So, you know, there are a few legends back on the continent, some of whom are in the diaspora as well. So, Haile Gerima, who is a phenomenal filmmaker from Ethiopia,
Absolutely.
but he's a Howard professor, is one of my huge influences. Spike Lee, you know, Spike is who taught us that, you know, you can have an inward gaze and you know, represent your people with grace. And he was the first one that I saw also have this amazing ability to communicate, not only in the work, but also in the marketing of the work. So, you know, Spike is a huge inspiration for me, and I'm sure for many filmmakers across the world.
Kelly?
How do you plan on making sure that people like you and younger than you actually have the same opportunities as you after the huge success of your film that I'm sure will happen?
Well, it's about sending the ladder back down, you know, and Ava has proven that time and time again. And I'm a beneficiary of her saying, it's not enough for me alone to be in this space. It is not enough for only African Americans to have this space. It's not enough for only continental Africans to have this space. It's important that all marginalized people have this space. And I think that has been an amazing feat. And I haven't seen anyone be that consistent. And that has been a huge inspiration for me. I personally also run an organization in Ghana called the Africa Film Society. And our work is similar to what's happening here with Ava and Array, where, you know, our key thing was how do we first educate people and let them know that Africa has a cinematic history. That's the first thing. Because most people go to universities and have no idea that Africans have made films from the 60s onward. And so that's the first thing. The other thing is how do we preserve this work that already exists? And how do we get that work beamed across the world? So that's what we do with the Africa Film Society. And the goal is that through that, we will create opportunity and more awareness about African cinema just globally.
Final question, Robert.
for about a generation, people in the diaspora were bombarded with negative images and iconography about Africa, and for that reason, disconnected from their people. They built up a certain level of prejudice towards people from the motherland. How does your film help to break down those prejudices, and how do you plan to reach out to people, particularly in America and as you said, Brazil and other locations, to break down this stigma and get them more interested in African films?
Well, I mean, listen, African cinema in general is probably one of the strongest mediums in the world. It unlike, say, literature, unlike, fine art or music, it has the ability to build very direct empathy, or has the ability to create heavy bias that, based on what you view and based on what you take in, you form your opinions on a group of people. And there has been no secret that as it relates to the continent, there has been a very concerted effort, and it has been longstanding, to create these very derogative images of us. And even it goes on today. Most of the films that you have seen or heard from the continent revolve around war, famine, and everything in between. And for the burial of Kojo, we were very clear about the fact that this was a huge opportunity to, for the first time, people see the continent in its beauty and its glory. That's number one. The second thing was, we were very critical even about the proximity of the camera, because a lot of times when you watch African films, they feel so distant. You don't really build the kind of empathy and connection with characters. We were very clear that the camera was a stand-in for our people, and that the closer you were to the characters, the more empathy you were going to build. And I think that it's our responsibility as a diaspora and as a continent to be cognizant about these images and to only do our absolute best to reflect ourselves in the best light. So the burial of Kojo, absolutely, it was very intentional, and we're very excited. The reviews have been stunning, so we're extremely excited.
Blitz, congratulations, folks. The Burial of Kojo airs on Netflix. You can watch it right now. Blitz, thanks a bunch. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Roland. It's a pleasure.
All right, thanks a lot. Again, folks, also want to thank Jason, want to thank Kelly, want to thank Robert as well for joining us and all of our guests. Look, all stuff that we talked about today is why we do this show. There's no other show like it. You're not going to have this much black news being talked about anywhere else. And I would dare say there's no other show you can actually find 3 black people on set at the same time talking about public policy, because they always have 1, maybe 2 of us, not 3 at the same time. And so y'all want to go to because when Jason's on Fox News, that ain't gonna happen. Just letting y'all know. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered, please join our Bring the Funk fan club. Go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Use the Cash app, use Square, use PayPal. And look, a lot of you are watching right now on Periscope, on YouTube, on Facebook. I keep trying to tell you, we have to fund our own freedom. We are not going to see these stories elsewhere. I doubt you're going to see CNN or MSNBC or Fox News interviewing Blitz about burial of Kojo, while we have to have our own media. So we need your support as well to do so, to make all of this possible. Literally, if all the people who literally are watching right now, you will actually double the number of folks who've already joined our Bring the Funk fan club. Had a brother today who gave $2 on the Cash app, and he said, that's all I got. I said, every dollar counts. And so whether it's 2, 10, 50, 100, 500,000, doesn't matter. You can give monthly, you can give yearly as well. But we have to have a place where we can have our own conversation, tell our own story. And as the first black newspaper, Freedom's Journal, said in 1827, we wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. Now, as you just heard from him, because of digital media, we can speak for ourselves. So go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Join our fan club. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about Joe Biden. He released a video today apologizing for being in people's personal space. Is it that big of a deal? Also, in Tennessee, Republicans doing more BS, trying to penalize groups who register people to vote. We'll talk about all that tomorrow. Y'all know we're going to bring the funk. Holla! Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.